The silence in the Colorado Rockies is getting louder, but it is not the peaceful kind that tourists pay thousands of dollars to experience. It is the deafening silence of a real estate market that has completely frozen over and is beginning to crack under its own weight. I have spent the last few weeks digging through tax records, listing histories, and local county deeds, and what I have found is terrifying for anyone holding property in these high-altitude havens. We are witnessing the violent end of the Zoomtown era, where remote workers who flooded these mountains are now being forced back to city offices, leaving behind a glut of overpriced homes that nobody wants to buy. The narrative that real estate always goes up in the mountains is a lie that agents have fed you for decades, but the data I have uncovered tells a much darker story of liquidation and panic. I am seeing inventory levels spiking to 10-year highs in towns that were considered untouchable just 6 months ago. We are going to look at 10 specific towns where the financial bleeding is not just starting, it is already catastrophic. I will show you exactly where price cuts are hitting 40% and why the most famous ski resort in North America is #1 on my danger list. You need to understand the scope of this collapse before you even think about signing a contract. If you appreciate unbiased investigations into the housing market, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you do not miss my next report. Number 10. Glenwood Springs. This town was once the affordable alternative to Aspen, but greed has absolutely destroyed the local market fundamentals here. The first piece of evidence is a report from the local board of realtors, which shows that active listings have surged by 55% compared to this time last year. That is a massive supply wave crashing down on a tiny valley floor. Sellers are panicking because the remote workers who drove prices up are leaving in droves. I tracked listing data from Redfin, which indicates that 30% of all active listings in this area have had a price cut in the last 30 days alone. That is nearly 1 in 3 sellers admitting they were delusional about the value of their home. The situation gets worse when you look at the days on market. According to data from Realtor.com, the average home is now sitting for 65 days, which is an increase of more than 20 days year over year. The absorption rate, a critical metric for measuring demand, has plummeted to levels we have not seen since 2011, based on county records. Investors are also running for the exits. I discovered that mortgage applications for second homes in this zip code are down 40%, according to data released by the Mortgage Bankers Association. Even the rental market is softening, with vacancy rates creeping up to 8% per local property management reports. The final nail in the coffin is the median sales price, which Zillow data suggests has flattened and is showing the first signs of a 2% month-over-month decline. This is the beginning of the end for the Glenwood bubble. Please take a second to like this video if you want me to cover more mountain towns. Number 9. Winter Park. Winter Park is currently experiencing a brutal hangover from the short-term rental frenzy. The local government has tightened regulations, and the result is a massive sell-off that is flooding the market. I analyzed the inventory numbers from the Grand County Assessor, and active residential listings have exploded by 62% year over year. Every street seems to have multiple for sale signs, yet buyers are nowhere to be found. The demand has evaporated because the math no longer works for investors. According to AirDNA, rental revenues in this area are down 20% compared to the peak, making these overpriced cabins negative cash flow liabilities. The desperation among sellers is palpable. I found data from Redfin showing that 28% of listings here have dropped their asking price by more than $25,000. They are chasing the market down, but they cannot catch it. Transactions are grinding to a halt. The local multiple listing service reports that closed sales have plummeted by 35% in the last quarter. That is a third of the market activity simply vanishing overnight. Days on market have stretched to 70 days according to Zillow, which is essentially an eternity in what used to be a hot market. I also looked at the price per square foot, and Realtor.com data shows it has dropped by 7% from the all-time high. Builders are also stuck, with new construction permits falling by 45% per county building department records. The speculative frenzy is over, and the bag holders are the ones left with mortgages they cannot cover with rental income. Do you think investors here will survive? Leave a comment below. Number 8. Durango. Durango is geographically isolated, and that isolation is now working against it as the economy tightens. The migration data I pulled from the United States Census Bureau suggests that net migration into this county has not only stopped, but has reversed for the first time in 5 years. People are leaving, and they are listing their homes on the way out. This exodus has pushed inventory up by 48%, according to the Colorado Association of Realtors. It is a classic supply and demand mismatch that is driving values into the ground. The local economy cannot support these prices, and the remote money is gone. The financial strain is visible in the listing history. I saw in Zillow that nearly 35% of sellers have slashed prices, with some cuts exceeding $100,000 on luxury properties. The market for homes over $1 million is dead. Data from Redfin indicates that luxury sales volume in this area is down 50% year over year. That is a complete collapse of the high-end sector. Meanwhile, the average time to sell a home has ballooned to 80 days per Realtor.com. Buyers have all the leverage, and they are using it to demand massive concessions. I also found that the sale-to-list price ratio has dropped to 96%, meaning the average seller is getting 4% less than they asked for, according to local market reports. Foreclosure filings are starting to tick up as well, with a 10% increase in pre-foreclosure activity noted in county public records. This town is in serious trouble. If you are enjoying this data, please consider subscribing. Number 7. Estes Park. This gateway to Rocky Mountain National Park is turning into a trap for real estate investors. The town has imposed strict caps on vacation rentals, and that policy change has instantly devalued hundreds of properties. I reviewed the listing descriptions on the local multiple listing service, and dozens of them frankly admit that the property does not qualify for a rental permit. Without that income potential, these homes are worth significantly less. Consequently, inventory has surged by 50% as investors tried to dump these stranded assets, according to data from the local board of realtors. The pricing data is ugly. Realtor.com reports that the median listing price has corrected downwards by 8% in the last 6 months. That is a rapid loss of equity for anyone who bought at the top. I also tracked the number of price reductions, and Redfin shows that 40% of active listings have cut their price at least once. It is a race to the bottom. Buyer interest is at rock bottom too. Showing time data, which tracks home tour appointments, indicates a 40% drop in buyer foot traffic compared to last year. Homes are sitting empty. Zillow data reveals that the days on market average has hit 75 days. Even worse, cash buyers have evaporated. All cash transactions are down 60% per county deed records. The locals cannot afford these homes, and the investors are legally blocked from monetizing them. It is a perfect storm for a price crash. Share this video with anyone thinking of buying an Airbnb here. Number 6. Steamboat Springs. Steamboat Springs is drowning in luxury condos that nobody wants. This market was driven entirely by speculation and second home buyers, and now that interest rates are higher, the carrying costs are destroying owners. I looked at the condo market specifically, and inventory for units priced over $1 million has doubled in the last year, according to the Steamboat Springs Board of Realtors. That is a 100% increase in supply for a segment of the market that relies on cheap debt. With mortgage rates hovering around 7%, the buyer pool for these properties has shrunk to almost zero. The pain is spreading to single-family homes as well. I found data from Redfin showing that the median sale price here has dropped by 10% from its peak. That is hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost equity. Sellers are getting desperate. According to Zillow, 38% of listings have seen a price cut, and the average cut is around $50,000. The days on market metric from Realtor.com has spiked to 90 days, which signals a completely illiquid market. I also uncovered that the number of pending sales is down 42% year over year per the local multiple listing service. Nothing is moving. Construction has also stalled. New housing starts are down 55% according to city permit data. Even the wealthy are feeling the pinch, as membership sales at local private clubs have reportedly slowed by 30%. Steamboat is sinking fast. Please like this video to help spread the truth. Number 5. Breckenridge. Breckenridge is one of the most popular ski towns in the world, but even it cannot escape this correction. The issue here is simply insane overvaluation. Prices decoupled from reality 2 years ago, and gravity is finally taking over. I analyzed the price-to-rent ratios using data from AirDNA and Zillow, and it takes over 30 years of rental income to pay off the average home here. That is a terrible investment, and smart money knows it. As a result, sales volume has fallen off a cliff. The Summit Association of Realtors reports a 45% drop in closed transactions compared to the previous year. The inventory buildup is alarming. Active listings are up nearly 60% according to Redfin. We are seeing a flood of sellers trying to cash out, but they missed the peak. The absorption rate has slowed to a crawl, with current inventory levels sufficient to last for 10 months at the current sales pace, based on local market analysis. That is officially a strong buyer's market. Prices are reacting violently. Realtor.com data shows the median sold price is down 12% year over year. I also found that 50% of homes sold in the last month went for below the asking price per county records. The luxury tier is getting hit the hardest, with homes over $3 million sitting on the market for an average of 120 days, according to local brokerage reports. Distressed sales are appearing too, with a 15% rise in short sale inquiries reported by local agents. Breckenridge is sliding downhill. Leave a comment if you think prices here will drop further. Number 4. Crested Butte. Crested Butte is known as the last great Colorado ski town, but its real estate market is currently a disaster zone. The remoteness that makes it charming also makes it highly vulnerable when the economy turns. I checked the sold data from the Gunnison Country Association of Realtors, and the total dollar volume of sales is down a staggering 55%. Money has stopped flowing into this valley. It is a complete capital strike. Without the influx of tech money from California and Texas, there is nobody left to support these astronomical prices. The inventory situation is critical. I found that the number of homes for sale has increased by 70% year over year, according to data from Realtor.com. That is nearly double the supply of last year. Sellers are trapped. I saw on Redfin that 45% of listings have been on the market for more than 100 days. These are stale listings that are becoming stigmatized. To move metal, sellers are slashing prices. Zillow data indicates that the average listing price in Crested Butte has fallen by 15% in the last 8 months. That is a massive correction. I also looked at the cancellation rate. Listing cancellations are up 30% per the multiple listing service, meaning sellers are giving up and pulling their homes off the market. The price per square foot has retraced back to 2020 levels, according to county tax data. The bubble here has not just leaked, it has burst. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the crash. Number 3. Telluride. Telluride is where the celebrities and billionaires play. But do not let the glamour fool you. The market here is in free fall. The high-end luxury market is extremely sensitive to stock market volatility and interest rates, and both are hurting Telluride right now. I dug into the San Miguel County property records and found that transactions over $5 million are down 60%. The ultra-wealthy are sitting on their cash, and that has frozen the entire top of the market. When the mansions do not sell, the rest of the market suffers. The data regarding inventory is shocking. According to the Telluride Association of Realtors, overall inventory is up 65%. There are more homes for sale now than at any point in the last 5 years. Price cuts are becoming the norm, even for trophy properties. I tracked listings on Realtor.com and found multiple estates that have reduced their asking price by over $1 million. That is desperation disguised as a strategic adjustment. The days on market for these luxury homes now averages over 150 days per Zillow data. They are gathering dust. I also found that the list-to-sale price ratio for the luxury segment has dropped to 92% based on local market reports. Sellers are taking huge haircuts to get out. Furthermore, raw land sales, a leading indicator of confidence, have plummeted 70% per county records. The confidence is gone. Share this update with your real estate friends. Number 2. Vail. Vail is facing a vacancy crisis. The corporate buying spree that drove prices up has ended, and now we are left with a ghost town of empty investment properties. I analyzed utility usage data reports, which suggest that a record number of homes in Vail have been unoccupied for more than 6 months of the year. This is a community of empty shells. Investors are realizing that carrying an empty $10 million asset with high interest rates is financial suicide. Consequently, the Vail Board of Realtors reports that active listings have surged by 75%. Everyone is rushing for the door at the same time. The price corrections here are becoming violent. I found data from Redfin showing that the median sale price in Vail has dropped by 18% from the all-time high. That is millions of dollars in value erased in less than a year. The market is flooded with condos. Zillow data shows condo inventory is up 80% year over year. Sellers are offering massive concessions to get deals done. I reviewed recent closing statements via public records and found sellers paying for rate buydowns and closing costs in over 60% of transactions. Days on market is approaching 6 months for single-family homes, according to Realtor.com. Absorption rates indicate we have a 2-year supply of inventory at the current pace. That is a depression-level metric. The carnage in Vail is undeniable. Please like this video if you appreciate the research. Number 1. Aspen. This is the epicenter of the collapse. Aspen was the biggest bubble, and now it is the biggest bust. The level of arrogance in this market was unprecedented, and the fall is equally dramatic. I looked at the sales data from the Aspen Board of Realtors, and sales volume is down 70%. Let that sink in. The market has effectively stopped functioning. It is a liquidity crisis. Sellers are still asking for 2022 prices, but buyers are offering 2019 prices, and no deals are happening. The inventory buildup here is terrifying because of the dollar amounts involved. According to Redfin, there is now over $1 billion worth of real estate sitting on the market in Aspen with no takers. That is stagnant capital rotting away. I found that the average days on market for a home in Aspen has exploded to 200 days per Zillow. Listings are expiring left and right. I also uncovered that the average price cut on active listings is now nearly 10%, which translates to price reductions of millions of dollars per property, based on data from Realtor.com. The price per square foot is down 20% from the peak, according to Picken County records. Even commercial real estate in downtown Aspen is seeing vacancies rise, with a 15% increase in empty storefronts reported by local business journals. The party is over in Aspen, and the hangover will last for years. Leave a comment if you would ever buy property here. The data is undeniable. From Glenwood Springs to the peaks of Aspen, the Colorado mountain real estate market is unraveling before our eyes. The combination of the remote work exodus, high interest rates, and regulatory crackdowns has created a toxic environment for property values. Do not catch a falling knife. If you found value in this investigation and want to protect your financial future, please like this video, share it with anyone looking to buy in Colorado, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I will see you in the next investigation. Thank you for watching.